a gift from the gods. He was a brilliant person. But he was in charge. He had the ideas, he had the blueprints, he had the reasons, he had it all worked out in his head, and he laid down the law. He ordered people around and told them what to do. It's just the opposite order of control in the construction of the building. The results look similar, but they're profoundly different in the way they came to exist. Another nice example. I got this slide from Matt Ridley a week or two. He used it in his talk. On the left, we see a naturally hand axe. On the right, we see a wireless mouse. Both designed for the hand, both about the same size. But the one on the left is much, much, much more like a termite hill than the one on the right. Acheulean hand axes were unchanged for 1 million years in our ancestors. But the one on the right, the wireless mouse, is a classic example of top-down intelligent design. In fact, as an example of top-down design, you could hardly improve on Turing's computers. Before anybody built the first computer, they'd worked it all out in representation. They'd designed it, proved it, proof of concept, mathematically proven. Nobody was going to put up all that money and all that time and energy to build that thing until they were pretty sure it was going to work. That's very, very different from the termites. In other words, we're the first intelligent designers in the tree of life. Now, our natural tendency to interpret all design as top-down, as representation-driven, is both anachronistic and anthropocentric. Remember, that's where we began with the pre-Darwinian worldview, where you have to have a representation-driven and anthropomorphic creator. This is an understandably anthropocentric and anachronistic view. In the beginning was the Word. I've read that somewhere. And it's just false. Words are a very recent invention. One of the most recent products of blind, purposeless natural selection. Before there could be intelligent design, there had to be words. Yes, that's the grain of truth in this, but not before there was design. We, the reason representers, can now look back and discover the reasons everywhere in the tree of life. It took Darwin to figure out that a mindless process discovered all those reasons. We intelligent designers are among the effects, not the cause, of all those purposes. Now, some of you may have noticed I have a little lapel pin. It says Darwin, it has little feet. Well, I was wearing my pin a few years ago, and the physicist, Murray Gell-Mann, we were at an evolution meeting somewhere, and he's a polymath, and he said, "Oh, hi, Dan, I like your pin." He said, "You know that the Christian fish that it's based on is the first acronym. There's the Greek word ichthus for fish." And he said, "Did you know that ichthus was the first acronym?" I said, "What's it for?" And he said, "Well, it stands for Jesus Christos Theos Soter." In other words, Jesus Christ, God's Son and Savior. And that's why the Christians use the fish as their symbol. That's very interesting. Thank you, Murray. Nice to know. He said, "What I want to know is what does DARWIN stand for?" Well, I thought that was a good challenge. And I don't have the Greek, not really. I studied a little bit, but not much. But I do have some leftover high school Latin. So I went down and had a cup of coffee, and I thought about it, and I just got lucky, and I came up with something, which I'm really quite happy with. So I'm going to share it with you. Of course, there's no W in Latin, so you have to use double U. So what does DARWIN stand for? Have we got some classicists in the audience? I don't want to steal your thunder. If you can do this, do it. Delere auctorem rerum. Delere. Remember, Carthago delenda est. Carthage is destroyed. Destroy auctorem rerum, the author of things. Ut universum infinitum noscas. Destroy the author of things in order to understand the infinite universe. Thanks for your attention.
you very much, Daniel, for this wonderful presentation. I open for questions now. There is another room that this lecture is being transmitted to. And if people in that room see me, if there is a few people that want to ask questions, they can come down here, knock at the door, and if there is not 100, we will let them in and ask questions. I open for questions here. Yep. Jan Terje.
Thank you very much for a very interesting talk. And one very nice thing about your talk was that I kept asking myself questions all the time, and at the next slide you answered the question, which is, of course, what is the purpose of a talk. But at one point, I didn't get the answer. And my field is linguistics, so my question has to do with those language trees. And like you said, of course, all these languages have been reconstructed as families, and that reconstruction is mainly based on words and the sounds of the words. But they all also have a complex structure, a grammar. And at the roots of all those trees, there is a reconstructed proto-language, which also has a complex grammar. Now, we assume that all those languages at all those levels, and even at the roots there, are equally complex in their structure. So the question is, or the question that we keep asking us all the time is, where does that complex structure come from? I mean, you talked about how languages, or you showed us how languages evolved once they are there, but they haven't always been there. They came with Homo sapiens. Can you comment on that, or can you explain this to us?
Oh, if I could. If only I could answer that question properly, I'd be a real hero, because people have been working on this, as you know, for a long time. And there's no unanimity yet, although I am much more optimistic. My view owes a lot to the work, for instance, of Terry Deacon, but also my colleague and dear friend, Ray Jackanoff. And first of all, let me take a point of Ray's. Ray has now been campaigning for about 10 years. He's a really wonderful linguist. He's a Chomsky student, but he's moved away from Chomsky in many ways. And in particular, he's moved away from what he calls the syntactocentric vision of Chomsky and the Chomskyan followers, and seen that syntax is not quite the universal grammar that people thought. Yes, as you put it very carefully and delicately, there's structure that has to be there way back when. It may have evolved some in the meantime, but for language to get going at all. Now, how did it get going at all? Here, again, I tend to agree with Jackanoff and Pinker, not with Chomsky, Hauser, and Fitch, whose paper